Now, this morning we are working on finding limits of piecewise function. And the most important thing is to understand how to define a function over the given interval, right? Now, this is a piecewise function. F of x is x squared minus 6 when x is less than 0. That means 0 and everything going toward negative infinity. And then f of x is negative 6 when x falls between 0 and 5. And then is square root of x plus 4 when x is greater than or equal to 5, meaning if x is 5 or goes towards positive infinity. Now you're asked to find the limit of a function as x approaches negative infinity. That means as the function goes further and further and further down towards negative infinity, what is f? What's the trend of this function? What's happening to this function?
It's gonna keep going
towards negative infinity when x goes towards negative infinity, right? So let's say you plug in negative 1,000 here. Let's try that. If you put in negative 1,000 in there, right? It'll be negative 1,000 squared minus 6, right? Negative 1,000 squared is like a million, isn't it?
Yeah.
A million minus 6 is almost like is 999 or something. Maybe not gonna do all that. So that means it's positive, right? So let's say you go to negative 1 billion. What's gonna happen to the function?
It's gonna turn to a positive.
Positive. So the further you go towards infinity on the negative side, the function is going toward positive what? Infinity. That's the reason why this is saying this is increasing without a bound, meaning it keeps going. The further you go from 0 on the negative side, because this is negative, this is x squared, anything negative here will make it bigger, but it's positive because any number negative squared or raised to the even power is always going to be positive, right? So now you're going to go towards positive infinity the further you go away from 0. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think what you mean is that like anytime
now we're trying to understand why this is happening. So the function is x squared minus 6, right? When x is less than 0. So now as you go closer and closer to negative infinity, which is on the left side going this way, we want to choose like a random number. Let's say we put negative 100,000 into this function. What's going to happen to the function?
It's going to become a positive.
Positive. But positive what? How huge is that number? If you put negative 100,000, right? And then you square it, it's going to give you what?
A huge number.
It's going to give you this number. And I'm messing up here. So 5 more 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It's going to give you this and this number, right? This is what you get, right?
Yeah.
How big is this number?
Like, what do you mean? Like,
how huge is this number? How big is this number?
A lot.
It's like positive 1 billion, right? Now, positive 1 billion minus 6 is always going to be positive something close to 1 billion. Now, the further you go from this number, let's say you go to negative 100,000, negative 1 million, and then you square that, you're going to get even a bigger number. Now, let's say we go to negative 1 trillion, and we square that. We're going to get even a huge number. Yeah. So the closer you go to negative infinity, which is infinite, because you keep going, the number is becoming bigger and bigger, and it's getting closer to positive infinity. That's what this is saying here, okay?
All right.
So anything less than 0 towards negative infinity will give you positive infinity.
Wow.
Okay. Next thing we're trying to figure out is this limit of the function, the same function, this piecewise function, as x approaches 0 from the negative side. And we said we are coming from the left side, right?
Yeah.
So now, since we are coming from the left side, we're going to be using this function here, right? Now plug in 0 there and see what happened to that function.
If you plug in 0 here, it'll be negative 6.
Negative 6. So when x gets closer to 0 from the negative side, the function gets closer to what?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. This is why they got negative 6. It makes sense? Doing the same function, and now we have a positive 0. So we are coming from the right side, correct? And then it's the same piecewise function. So what function are we going to use? The first one, the second one, or the third one?
This one?
Which one? Yeah, for that one.
We're going to use the second one.
Second one, right? And then what does the function say? When x is between 0 and 5, what's the value of the function?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. So that's not going to change. It's still going to be negative
So
6.
we can't even do anything.
There's nothing you can do. It's a constant function. It's negative 6.
So it's continuous or something.
No, it's not continuous. It's a constant function.
Alright.
Between 0 and 5 is always going to be negative 6.